What's up, you guys? What's up, you guys? What's up, guys? Welcome back to Overdose. I'm your host, Don Jaye. I'm joined today with a couple of people on the panel. We are doing a reaction to, I don't know her name. I fuck her name. She got a lot of misinformation. I'm about to give her some work. Let's get into it. All right, starting from my left, introduce yourself, your relationship status, and what do you do for a living?
My name is Moise. I am a software developer. I trade stocks. I dibble dabble with YouTube, and I am single.
Well, hold on, real quick. Talk your shit.
Talk my shit. What's
Don't you got some shit?
Well, I got a podcast starting up. I was gonna say at the end of the podcast, but I got a podcast starting up with same concept, bringing on shorties and having conversations about intersexual dynamics, culture, spirituality, any and everything, the whole sauce. So make sure you go subscribe to Power Talk _ there's no underscore, Power Talk space podcast.
All right.
Nice. It's your boy Reclaim Your Throne, aka Quarantino the God, aka Black Gen Z Mindset. I am a real estate investor, car rental company owner, car wash owner, and I do YouTube as well. So make sure you guys check me out.
Where can I find you?
You can find me on Reclaim Your Throne, Quarantino the God, or Black Gen Z Mindset.
All right. Oh, hold on. Did you say your relationship status?
I'm in a relationship.
Okay.
Y'all said too much shit. My name's Alyssa. I'm a martial artist and a model. For real, I feel like I can't say nothing now. 24 and I'm married.
Hold on one second. Sir Yeetus in the building. He said I'm catching up to you. I see you, bro. Don't I definitely see you. You actually definitely putting in work. Some of your videos, the shorts, are actually going viral. But you said what again? And then don't you got something or no?
Well, right now I'm a creative director right now, so I'm putting together a little platform for up and coming models to be successful in the business.
All right, so let's jump into the reaction here, sir.
Babe, this dress I got for this weekend, ooh, I'm finna twerk up a storm. What's wrong?
I'm just tired of these modern women. I wish they'd go back to being traditional.
Is there any way you can make that full screen?
Good night, babe.
Good night.
Honey,
What?
it's time to wake up, silly.
What time is it?
Well, it's 5 a.m., silly. My man's the first ever fry cook of the first ever McDonald's.
Well, are you getting ready for work too?
No! Who's gonna do all the cooking and cleaning? Honey, remember the mortgage and all the bills are due. I need $300 for a dress I seen at Barney's.
Well, why can't you pay for anything?
What the hell has gotten into you?
I hate my life.
Me too. After work, I need you to take out the trash and fix the car.
I'm not a mechanic.
You would be if you were a traditional man.
Be a traditional man! Be a traditional man! Bro,
What?
I love twerking.
Okay. Babe, this dress
Oh
I
my
got.
God, let's pause. Let's get your thoughts started off. No, matter of fact, let's start this side. What are your thoughts,
I
Sarah?
love her.
But what are your thoughts on the
funny.
traditional? Because basically she's making fun that if you don't want me twerking, etc.
Then you want a traditional woman.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really disagree with her, but I mean, I don't know. It just depends on what your situation is and what your man will allow and what boundaries you guys have set with each other. But honestly, like Megan said, it's 2020. We ain't finna argue about twerking.
Okay.
I mean, I think if you're equating twerking and all this stuff like to be the antithesis of a traditional woman, if that's what's supposed to make up your womanhood, I think that's a problem.
Facts.
Like that shouldn't be the thing that defines you as a woman. You know, you have a lot of women saying they don't want to be objectified, this, that, and the third, but then they're damn near in the streets arguing to twerk buck naked and shit like that and do slut walk. So it's like, for me, when it comes to that traditional thing, I think they were kind of over exaggerating when it comes from the male's perspective, because I don't think men have a problem with bearing the responsibility of being that leader and being that provider. As a matter of fact, we embrace that. We already know that that is going to be the role that we're going to have to play. So I think the least your woman could do is represent you in public in a respectable manner. But, you know, who am I?
Okay, I'm glad.
Preach.
I gotta play devil's advocate because obviously we don't have that many females on the
Right.
panel.
Yeah, come on.
Wouldn't you say that since women are becoming more, I guess, masculine now, as well as making money and adding financial stuff to the household, that they have a little bit, I guess, more leeway of their feminine duties and feminine boundaries or whatever?
If they're going to outsource some of those feminine duties, but the thing is, they want to outsource every feminine duty except the sex. So they want to say, oh, well, I'm making money, we can just pay for a maid. Okay, cool. Oh, well, I'm making money, we can do DoorDash, or we can buy, a chef. Oh, I'm making money, so, well, why can't I say, oh, we're making money? Well, let me just buy some sex.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they wanna outsource every responsibility but the sex. So for me, it's like either you're gonna go all in, because I'm going all in. Like I said on
But
the last
even as
one.
a traditional man, like, I don't know, it's not really traditional to be unfaithful to your wife. It's not. Really
I mean,
traditional
actually,
to be unfaithful in general.
I'd actually agree with her, bro. So I personally think that as far as like the whole video goes, I would say the video is disingenuous because I really agree with my man over there. As far as I don't think men really have a problem with bearing the responsibility of a household or taking care of their women, etc. I think it's disingenuous to say that a man does have a problem with that, because naturally speaking, if a man is genuinely interested in you, the last thing he's thinking about is how much money he's spending on you. That being said, the biggest thing that I think men value in women is sexual chastity. So the fact that a woman would argue to twerk is a little, I wouldn't say contradictory, but it's a misunderstanding. They don't really understand what men want, because if there's one thing specifically, the foundation of what a man wants from a woman, it's sexual security, meaning you don't have sex with anybody else and you don't project yourself sexually in front of other people. But that being said, I agree with her. I do think that the traditional way for the average man was to be sexually committed to one woman.
Okay.
I don't think so, because I mean,
let's go.
I mean, let's keep it a buck. High earning men have always had.
I said average men though, because the reality of it is high earning men make up a very small
10%,
portion.
10%.
Yeah, small portion of the population. So now you have like, I can understand or comprehend the concept of high earning men wanting to have sexual freedom because they have those options. But for the average Joe to be walking around claiming that, oh, I deserve sexual freedom, or I should be able to have a wife at home and still be having sex with
That's a
females
very modern
is
mindset.
I would say that pretty much falls under the same category of liberalism that feminism falls into.
Yeah, I mean, average dudes definitely not, but at the end of the day, that's pretty much most men's desires.
For sure.
Even if they don't say it. Like, we got a whole bunch of guys out here jerking off and doing all this stuff. When they got a girl, why are they doing that? Because they want variety.
Yes.
So if there wasn't a need for it, if there wasn't a market for it, then it wouldn't exist. And I think that a lot of men are going against their natural nature in order to appease the opposite sex.
All right, I'll push back on that, right? I'll push back. So hypothetically speaking, if I had 15 different ice cream flavors in my fridge and I was eating a different ice cream flavor every day, you would on the one side you can say that, hey, I want variety, but on the other side you can
You're
say
always gonna
that
have a favorite.
I'm undisciplined and I can't control myself from having different ice creams.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So I think let me just finish that
Go
up.
ahead.
I think as far as the sexual standpoint goes, the reason why men are jerking off and why men are watching porn and why men want sexual freedom, which, like I said, I can understand the concept of polygamy, but not for every guy, because the reality of it is most men can't even handle one woman. So how are they going to handle multiple? I think the problem of jerking off, pornography, multiple women, wanting multiple women, not getting multiple women, because most men don't get multiple women, but even wanting them is not a reflection of what men necessarily just desire. It's the reflection of the lack of discipline that men are taught in their day-to-day lives.
Ooh, okay.
I
like that.
I particularly don't think like it. Discipline comes in different forms. So just because you're dealing with multiple women doesn't mean that you're undisciplined.
Yeah, I would agree.
Sexually, especially if you're taking precautions to protect yourself in those acts. I think, as a matter of fact, that would exemplify that you are disciplined by taking those extra steps to make sure that you're straight, you're wearing protection or whatever. But when it comes to The average man, I don't think that's something that the average man can negotiate. But I wouldn't go as far as to say is that's not what they desire, because I mean you can clearly see that men definitely desire variety.
I mean, let's break down desire, right? Because like desire can be taken in two contexts. Desire could be something that I want or something that I'm drawn towards, and for the most part, I don't think it's what people necessarily want. It's what people are drawn towards. Just like if I had an ice cream addiction.
Wait, hold on. Say that one more time.
All right,
for me. I want to be very clear what you said. You said men don't want women.
No. So a desire can be taken into two different contexts, right? I desire to be a high earner, meaning that I desire it, I want it, right? And then the opposite of that, or not the opposite, but the other context is that I can be drawn towards something through desire. One is an intentional desire and one is an unintentional desire, meaning that I can intentionally say I want to be a high earner and then I have to intend to do that. Okay. I can desire to watch pornography, but I don't have to necessarily be intentional about watching it. Something that I can be drawn towards or something that pulls me towards it. So the question would become, am I actually desiring it in an intentional manner where I'm willing to work for it? Or am I desiring it because it's something that appeals to my instinctual nature and draws me towards it? And do I have the discipline to be able to stop myself when I want to stop myself when it's asking me to be drawn towards it?
I think it's more of an instinct. And the thing is, when a guy is actually watching porn, he's actually imagining himself actually fucking that bitch. So it's not the sense that, oh, it's just porn. It's like, no, the only reason he's watching porn is because he cannot access the said woman. So he fantasizes about doing that, even though he wants to do it. He has a desire to do it. He's even drawn to do it. But at the same time, it's not like you're just out here like, oh, okay, I want this one, I want that one, I'm gonna jerk off to all of them.
Let's break that down too, right? Because what you just said, like the average person who's watching pornography is doing it in the context that he's imagining himself to be there, right? So if you ask the average person, would you rather be watching porn or would you rather be actually with the female? They would say, I would rather be with the female, right? Yeah. So that goes back to the concept of unintentional desire. So the reason they're watching porn is not because they want to be watching porn. They're watching porn because they're drawn towards it because the other side of it is very hard to achieve for them maybe. But point being is that they don't have the necessary attributes or have what it takes to actually acquire or be with the women. So instead, they're settling not for what they're drawn to, but what draws them towards it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. But at the end of the day, that urge comes from desiring multiple women. You see, like, it doesn't matter whether...
That's still a very modern idea.
No,
like,
it's not.
Porn is very modern.
Oh, porn is very modern, but masturbation is not modern.
Well, I would disagree with that too. I would say definitely throughout history, people were not jerking off like they're jerking off today.
Not like they're jerking off today. Absolutely not. Because
but that's what
like
we're talking about.
No. But I'm saying people still masturbated. Like
for sure.
You can look throughout the history. I
would still disagree because naturally speaking, throughout history or tribal times, men were naturally raised to be either warriors or workers, right? So they were either doing physical labor or they were warriors. It's very hard for me to imagine a warrior standing in his bathroom.
Most men were not warriors. Most men were peasants and pedestrians.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean,
every other
sex
person.
in general was made to procreate, to make a family, to make kids. So in general, porn in general is just a very modern term. And if you think about where people got their values from back in the day, very traditional values, it's based off religious views. Like whatever is in the Bible. The Bible does not say to have sex with multiple women. The Bible does not say to jerk off. The Bible does not say that.
It doesn't say that, but it gives you stories of kings like King Solomon who had multiple women, King David who
secured, right? So I'm actually for the idea of polygamy. I can understand polygamy. I'm not against it. But I think the concept of here's my stance on polygamy, right? I feel like naturally, regardless of what women say, when you have sex with a woman, she's opening herself up to you, right? Let's take that concept and naturally, like, say, like, you're upset about something. So you open yourself up, not in that context, but you open yourself up to a friend of yours to ask for advice, right? So naturally, when you're opening yourself up to somebody, what you're really doing is seeking leadership on some level, right? So when women...
Or just, like, advice.
Advice, yeah, but when somebody's giving you advice, they're kind of leading you. In that specific context, they are leading you. So... So when a woman opens herself up to a man, which is why I don't believe women when they say they're okay with casual sex, I think that's just something they say to basically please the guy that they like or they want to have sex with. The point being,
Well, hold on. So you don't think women of today don't actually can have casual sex?
I think women today don't actually. I say this very carefully. Women reflect the guy that they like. So if a woman truly likes you, and it's not a bad thing, I think there's beauty in there, right? But when a woman naturally likes you, whatever idea you propose to her, if you know how to communicate with her, she's going to get on the same page with you, not because she necessarily agrees with you, but because she's embodied your leadership, meaning that she's willing to follow you in whatever you believe, right?
Okay.
So that being said, I think when women say that, hey, we're open to casual sex, what they're really doing is they like the man that they want to have sex with.
I don't agree with that.
And basically, essentially, when you're having sex with the woman, this is proven through chemicals too.
There's bitches out here that are fucking
I
to
was
fuck.
about to
That
say
have mental health issues.
Yeah, they definitely
that have
do.
mental health
But
issues.
they're-
Casual
but-
sex for women ruins them.
Exactly.
I don't think that they say they want casual sex because of, they like this man, so they want to convince him that, hey, yeah, I'm cool with my status in this relationship. No, they say they want casual sex or they like casual sex because men say we like casual sex. So then therefore they say, well, we like casual sex too.
Yeah, so that's
We can
basically what I
do it
said.
too.
agree.
And
Yeah.
then- and then-
That's
and
exactly
the
what I said.
reality-
That's exactly what I said. They're just
but-
reflecting men.
Well,
They're
you
just reflecting men.
You said they're reflecting a certain man that they're trying to impress, and I'm telling you that they are
Okay.
saying it because
They wanna be
Society,
like
man.
men.
On a macro level, they're reflecting men too. Yeah, I agree. On a
They
macro
wanna
meaning
be
on a
Yeah,
bigger
yeah,
scale, they're
yeah,
reflecting men. I agree.
They
Yeah, I
want to
agree.
be equal to men.
yeah,
That's
so
why
they
they're-
want to compete in that way and say, hey, if you can have casual sex, then I can do it too.
Yeah.
Watch me. Then they go do it, and then they're
agree.
fucked up for life. But then men go do it, and then we still can go and get
I
a
agree.
wife.
I agree.
Okay. Hold on. I got a super chat and then I got a question for the panel. Sir Yedis says, I know she remembers me. He must be talking about Alyssa.
He was on the show?
Huh?
He was on the show?
No, Sir Yedis. He's definitely fucking someone that's always been,
Talking shit.
since day one.
I
All
don't
right.
remember you, sir.
Do you think I'm gonna start actually on this side since I started on that side. Do you think relationships can be traditional in 2022?
Yeah, of course. I mean,
And if so, how?
I mean, it depends really where you're looking. I court women, and I'm courting somebody right now who's probably watching this show, and we're pretty much on the same page as far as she knows her role. She knows that I'm looking for a submissive wife. I'm looking for somebody who's willing to take on household responsibilities, but I also know that she understands that I'm willing to provide the reciprocal in the masculine version, meaning I'm a complete provider. I provide complete security. I provide her with leadership, etc. So yeah, I think they're definitely possible. It's just about knowing where to look and how to approach it.
Okay. And do you think that even though we live in 2022, or she may live in America, or whatever, she's going to be willing to be that person?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely depends on the type of dude you are, and it also depends where you're looking for the girl. I ain't finding no girl in no club, or I'm not going to a club to look for a shorty like that.
Yeah.
So it depends on who you are as a man and where you're looking.
Okay. I'm going to ask a follow-up question, but I want to get y'all takes on this too.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can be in a traditional relationship. I'm in a traditional relationship right now, and it's going smooth. It's going fine. What he said about the club, though, you say, "Oh, I'm not looking for a girl in the club." Well, most of the girls are in the club.
Yeah. See,
So
that's
when you're looking,
But we had that conversation too. Like, girls in the club is different from men being in the club. I feel like girls can be in the club and have a good time with their friends. Men are in the club to find bitches. That's the whole purpose.
The only reason clubs work is because girls go there and men pay to go after.
Right.
So, I mean, clubs wouldn't really exist if men didn't go to get girls.
Well, yeah,
you know?
exactly. So, like, that's the intention of men going to the club to get girls. But at the same time, women are going to the club to extract resources from the men who want to get girls, and
Yep.
No,
they
that's
will,
true.
and
That's
they
true.
will also
Not me.
they will also find a guy in the club who they fancy and go home with him.
Hold on, pause really, really quickly. So let's say you were at a club and a guy just offers you a drink. You gonna turn it down? Yes or no?
I have done that before.
But have you accepted a drink?
I have done that before also.
Thank you. All right, go ahead.
Extracting
But
resources.
that doesn't
that
mean
just
I
shows
went
me
home
that
with
it-
him just
Nah,
because
man,
I-
extract the
no,
resource.
no, that's not what we're saying. That's
but
not what we're saying.
You took the drink, you extracted the resource. Why? Because you
I
know
didn't
that
ask
you.
him for
It
that.
doesn't
No,
matter.
it
I didn't
doesn't
go
matter.
for
It
that.
doesn't matter if you asked him.
And
for
I've
that.
definitely gone to the club and me and my homegirls all went together and be like, oh, I got the first round, you got second round. You
Well,
know
of
what I
course,
mean?
of course. But generally speaking, that y'all definitely are not turning down resources from
Right.
dudes.
Most of the time, you want to get your shit paid for.
If it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck, it's a duck.
But what are your takes on the question?
I think that you can.
Which can relationships be traditional in 2022?
I do think so, but I think that with how people's values have changed in this modern world, it is a lot more harder to have a traditional relationship than back in the day, just because everyone's trying to do this. Everyone's trying to do whatever is modern. Everyone's not trying to do what's traditional. It's kind of hard to bring it back, you know, but with discipline, I think you can achieve that.
I would just to add on, I don't think people's values have changed. I think people's values have been stripped, and there's a huge difference.
Okay, talk to us. No, talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people intentionally have decided like, oh, we don't want to be in a committed relationship or we don't want to have a traditional relationship. I think it's more so the fact that these kids are growing up like freaking crackheads on social media, seeking the next TikTok reel and seeking the next Instagram reel, whatever. So
Validation, attention, yeah.
validation, attention. Point being that there's no mental space. When you look at history and you see how people were raised, a big portion of people's life was boredom, meaning spending a lot of time with yourself in day-to-day tasks. You know, naturally, what boredom strikes is creativity. So you naturally start to create an identity for yourself when you have a space to think and figure out what you like, dislike, who you want to be, etc. But because kids nowadays don't have the time to think and they don't have the time to actually engage in meaningful thought process, because anytime they have that space, naturally the brain seeks dopamine and they're back on TikTok or Instagram scrolling, trying to get pleasure.
Not only that, I just don't think that these kids are all being raised in traditional households, so they don't have that example in front of them all the time.
Yeah, most kids are growing up in single parent households,
And
specifically
that's not
single mother
necessarily
households.
bad, though.
No, it is bad because
bad.
it contributes to the degradation of the society.
Yep.
So like there can be anomalies out here who make it successfully out of a single mother household. But the statistics show that you're more likely to be a criminal. You're more likely to not graduate high school. You're more likely to become homeless. You're more likely to get a drug addiction. You're more likely to delete
So
yourself.
it's not always necessarily their fault because they're being raised in these households that aren't traditional. So it's not like yes, they're being stripped of their traditional values, but it's not like it's up to them. You know,
It's not their fault. Yeah.
It's the parents.
Yeah.
So going back to what we were talking about before, right? Like polygamy. It's like I said, I personally, I believe and I understand in polygamy, but the reason why I don't try to promote it to like the average man or the average person is because what that does is create an unconventional foundation for the man. Because like I said, like most dudes aren't masculine enough to handle one woman, and it's hard.
Women are masculine as fuck now.
Yeah. So if an average man is with a girl and he barely knows or barely can take care of her and he's already thinking about other women, what he's doing is basically destroying his own home, you know? Point being, I preach it because I'm for the family and I'm like, yo, like the whole goal is to get the family back together, you know?
Yeah, facts. Yeah, I agree. You said something earlier, and that was going to be the follow-up questions. Basically, you said something about the women not being in clubs, etc. So my question would be, how actually do you vet a person that you are dating or taking seriously, or that you are already currently dating? We can start on this side.
For me personally, I think I've said this before on the podcast, I don't get sexually involved with girls that I'm courting. The reason for this is, on some level, I believe that not always, but once you have sex with a woman or you get sexually involved with a woman, for a man, it's very easy to put goggles on, right? So once you have sex goggles on, you're no longer actually looking at what needs to be looked at. Not all the time, but a lot of times. You're no longer looking at what needs to be looked at because you're more interested in getting the goods, right? So I try not to get sexually involved with girls that I'm courting.
But how do you know if you like them if you don't have sex with them?
I was just about to talk about
so this is not going back to traditionalism, right? It's very unlikely that you're going to like a person and connect to a person and not be able to have good sex. If you're intimately involved with somebody and you guys both dig each other, then naturally the sex is going to be good because everything else is already good. Okay. So I personally don't believe in making sex the foundation of an actual committed relationship. In the context of a relationship, it makes absolutely no sense to make sex the foundation because sexual stimulation at some point might run out. Sexual ideas might at one point run out. And if that's what you built your whole foundational relationship off, it's going to crumble.
Yes. But pushback, hold on real quick. But pushback for the woman that you're courting, are they not having sex?
No.
Okay.
How do you know?
Because I personally go for religious women. I'm not going to marry a girl who's not
religious women are having sex.
Not the ones that I know. Muslim girls are completely different than Western girls.
I don't know. My cousin was busting down a Muslim.
I would So there's ways to tell, right? There's ways to tell. First of all, for me personally,
a hymen check.
Not a hymen check.
I mean, you understand your culture. And you know how
I understand how my culture works. I also understand Muslim women, and I personally go for women that are covered up, meaning like they dress a certain way, they act a certain way, and most of all, like the Muslim religion itself, like you're praying 5 times a day if you're actually practicing the religion. So the girl that I'm courting or any girl that I court, those are the minimal requirements, that she's praying 5 times a day, that she's covered up, that she's living a certain lifestyle, so that I don't even have to think about if she's entertaining other dudes or if she's going out or she doesn't want to follow my lead.
So you'll only date a Muslim woman.
Yeah.
Do you find that when the Muslim women come over to the States, they have a westernized mindset, or do they keep their tradition?
There's ways to tell, right? So, like I said, the average. I mean, you know what a hijab is. So if a girl's wearing a hijab, she's obviously not into getting sexual attention because she's privatizing her sexuality, right? That's the purpose of wearing a hijab.
Yes.
So that's a sign. Another sign would be just me having a conversation with her and asking her gender dynamics. What do you think a man's role is? What do you think a woman's role is? So I ask very specific questions, and I also look at behavior, meaning like shorty's not out till late. Shorty's not, going out every single day. Shorty's not involved or hanging out with guys. She only has friends that are girls. Yes. And I look for these signals and
talk to them.
Yeah, I look for these signs and signals, which again, to be very frankly honest, way easier to find a good Muslim girl than it is to find a good Western girl, because naturally Western culture is freaking like sabotaged.
Yes.
But to answer your question, it's really not that hard or complicated to find a good Muslim woman.
Okay. And then same question with you.
Yeah, I would just say.
Yo, you can't be Googling, bro.
No, I'm not Googling. I take notes. I'm taking notes on what you said. You said that you wanted to. You're not gonna have sex with a woman that you're courting, but for me, I have sex with the woman to see how she reacts afterwards. So like, I need to know how she is going to react afterward, because sometimes you'll have sex with a woman and shit, before you even wake up, she's out the door. That's how I know that, this is routine for her. So if a woman goes like that,
but don't you think it's weird though if she doesn't do that? Because like,
if she gets out the door after we have sex,
usually it's the guy that does that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but why are we having tick for tack?
No, like if I have sex with this woman and then she's out the door before I even wake up, without saying bye or doing anything like that, I already know, okay, this is routine for you.
But don't you think that sometimes women are like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Maybe I should just leave.
No,
they don't want to be
maybe you shouldn't have showed up.
No, you should go to the kitchen and make breakfast.
Whoa, that's
shit.
crazy.
That's adding
That's
value.
really crazy,
That's
though.
adding
No,
value.
that's actually showing.
If
That's
this is
actually
the
showing
first
that
time
you're
you guys
interested.
are having sex, like.
But that's the okay.
So you know what's
shit.
crazy?
Schooling lesson time.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah, go ahead.
You know what's crazy? That you as a woman are willing to have sex with a man that you're not willing to cook breakfast for.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is
That's
crazy.
loco to
That's
me.
bold.
That
So
is
like,
loco to me.
if anything, the breakfast should come first before the sex, or the meal should come first before the sex. But if you're willing to have sex with me and you're not, and you're just out the door to the next, okay, I already know what type of time you on. You on demon time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna treat you as such. But if the next morning you like, boom, what can I do to help you? Whatever, what you got going on.
All right, so
today,
I'll push back.
Okay,
So
talk to him.
So hypothetically speaking, if you met a girl and she had sex with you the very first night you met her, you wouldn't automatically on some level be like, yo, this was too easy, like shorty's already doing this?
Nah, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I wouldn't because I understand my attractiveness level. So when like
Talk your shit.
not real
Depends
shit.
on how long you talk to that
No,
person.
no, I know he about to say.
It
Go ahead,
doesn't.
go ahead.
It doesn't
Yeah.
depend, because I know when she sees a nigga like me, she like, oh shit, he got this, he got that,
All right.
and he's my type.
So I'll push back again. Like, not saying that you're not a high value male, right? Which I think the whole concept is a little weird to me. But all right, so like somebody who's masculine, somebody who has their shit together, etc. Right? Mm-hmm. But there's other dudes like you. So if she opened herself up to you the very first night, what's to say she hasn't opened herself up to another dude the very first night?
I'm not saying that she hasn't opened herself up to another guy that night, but if she is showing me that, yo, I'm trying to fuck with you, and I'm doing the things that I require out of her, if she's doing those things, then I know that she's putting me first. Like,
okay,
if she is like, after we have sex, she's doing something to add some type of value to my life, then I know that, yo, okay, she is actually trying to win me over. Whereas if it was a regular girl and she was like, boom, out the door, then I know, okay, she's not really into it like that. Like, a woman's gonna show and put in effort to try and win you over. And if she doesn't do that,
spot.
Exactly. If she doesn't do that, if she doesn't, what we said the other week, compete for you and cut off the niggas that she's talking to and cut off all that other shit. That if she's not willing to do that, then I write her off. You also said something about the sex not being the foundation. The sex may not be the foundation, but it's the glue. If you're a couple and you guys are not having sex, or you don't have sexual chemistry, then most likely it's not gonna last.
Well, no, that's not. I didn't say sex doesn't matter. I agree.
No. You said sex
Is
you,
it's
it
not the
shouldn't be the
foundation.
foundation.
All right,
And
so-
I say sex is not. It shouldn't be the foundation, but it's the glue.
I agree.
That keeps the relationship together.
I agree. So I'll explain the context, right? I think there's a lot of folks out there that get into relationships and they're having sex with their superior significant other or whatever. And I've seen this myself where dudes will get married to a girl knowing that that girl is no good for them because they're in a committed relationship, which I would attribute to the only reason why a man would do something so foolish is because he's having consistent sex and he feels trapped.
Yeah.
So my
That's
whole
a scarcity mindset then.
So my whole philosophy is the fact that me personally, like not to, I don't think sex is hard. I don't think it's hard for a man to have sex. I don't think it's hard for a woman to have sex, but
Wait, hold on.
Maybe
have
not
sex
for-
or get sex?
get sex.
Maybe not
for men in
you,
general?
but
Nah,
for
not
most
men-
men.
all right.
I'm about to say, hold on.
The point of what I was trying to say is the fact that I personally believe that if a shorty is, I actually asked the mentor this question where I was like, oh, like, don't you, exactly what you guys are saying. Oh, shouldn't I have to have sex with a female to know if she would be good for me long-term or not? And his answer was a simple answer, which makes a lot of sense. If a woman is serving you kind of what you just said, if she has sex with you and she makes breakfast for you the next morning and she cleans your house, etc., you're going to be drawn towards her because you're going to start liking her a little bit because you're going to be like, yo, damn, like she has some type of value. She's willing to do something for me. So the whole idea is if a woman is willing to provide that for me up front without me even having to tie her in or bring her in through sex, she's willing to cook for me. She's willing to clean for me. She's willing to basically follow my lead in terms of what I need her to handle, then I can't imagine the sex would be bad.
But can we keep it a buck though? Most women are not going to be on your program until you have sex.
Yeah, that's true too. I think that's true for
That's a
Western
great
women.
point. That's a great
I
point.
think that's true for Western women specifically for the fact of what the analogy you use of Velcro. That once a Western woman has opened herself up to a man and she's attached and then she gets stripped off and then she gets put back on and continuously gets stripped off, she's naturally going to have a harder time committing or doing things for a man until she has sex. But for the average, not the average, but the women that I court that aren't having casual sex,
Select women.
yeah, the very selected women that I choose, I don't need to have sex with them to know that, yo, shorty's going to be loyal and have dignity and basically do what I need her to do for however long I'm married to her.
Okay. I don't want to feel like I'm ganging up on you, but I do have a pushback
Bring
question.
it.
And it's okay.
Bring it.
I'll say less. All right. So when it comes to dating, guess the Muslim girls, etc., do you feel at all jaded that she may have already had sex and now you are basically courting her and putting a lot of resources, time, attention, etc., into her when other dudes may not have put that much time, attention, and resources into her?
So I'll answer that question like this, right? It's not necessarily, I'm not like, oh, I need to have a virgin, right? Like I don't, if shorty's not a virgin, it depends on the context of why she's not a virgin. If she's not a virgin because she fell in love in high school or college and had one man that she was attached to or whatever and she had sex, I'm not going to write her off for that. What's alarming to me is if she had sex with that guy and then instantly got into another relationship and then got into another relationship and then got into another relationship, that's a red flag. But if you had one quote unquote boyfriend or somebody you were attached to throughout your life and things didn't work out, that's understandable.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with like, dealing with a woman who's been perpetually in long-term relationships because it shows that she has the relationship skills to be with guys. But most girls are not doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, and most girls are not going to put in any effort for a man unless they've had sex with him already. You see how Shorty was
I agree.
like, she was like, oh, cook for you after. That's crazy. Well, it's like, well, it shouldn't be crazy, but it is a crazy concept because they think that they don't think that sex is a mutually exclusive or mutually beneficial exchange. They think that I'm giving him my pussy. She doesn't think that, oh, he's giving me his dick.
Facts.
But no, we're sharing our bodies with each other.
But
So
y'all
we
are so easy to share your body versus women.
No, we're not because we don't actually have access to that. Right? Like
y'all
we don't
be trying to have access to that.
Yeah, but
Well,
Y'all
that's a good
try
point. That's a good point.
so much to have
not
access
really.
to
After
more
after
pussy.
you
all right,
fail
let-
a few times, you're like, okay, let me
Well,
start.
let him
dealing
finish. Let
with
him
the-
finish. Let him finish.
I was just gonna say after you're going out and trying and doing all this shit, you start to realize that this is a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
So you start to deal with the women who are attracted to you. Most men don't even get to that level where they're even trying because they know or feel that it's hopeless in the first place.
Yeah, that's why they turned to porn and OnlyFans and all that shit.
I was
You
just about to say,
something.
I think it's also important to break down why men are trying so hard to be with females, right? Because a huge contradiction that I see with females is like, for example, girls would be like, oh, I hate when guys catcall me, or I hate when guys try to hit on me, or whatever, or like, oh, if I'm walking down the street, why does that guy have to say something to me? Which in my eyes really doesn't make sense, because naturally speaking, if I had a Lamborghini and I drove my Lamborghini out and everybody was like, nice car, bro, nice car, and I came and said, oh, I hate when people tell me nice car.
Yeah.
That's stupid. That's contradictory. So if you're dressed
if somebody told you, ooh, those rooms look real expensive. Ooh, that looks real expensive. You like?
I would say that if you're dressed a certain way, you should expect a certain type of attention.
Right.
Ooh.
Like even when I go out and I'm wearing like a tight shirt or something like that.
Yeah.
I'll get a lot of compliments like, yo, what are you doing? Your body, your gym regimen. Yo, let me follow you on Instagram, see what you're doing. And you know that'll be a thing. I never take that and be like, oh my god.
Then they see your
you're
TikTok and they're like,
objectifying
no.
my traps and whatnot and shit like that. Nah, the TikTok actually.
I can't stand your TikTok. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Y'all gotta watch this nigga's TikTok. I'm not gonna lie to you. Fucking hate it.
When I was little, my auntie she's a real beautiful woman, and I used to go around with her. And I remember one time there was this guy, and he was honking at her while we were in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my God, like that's so annoying. Like me, my little self. And she's like, you should feel grateful that people are like telling you look beautiful. And that really changed my mindset a lot.
Yeah, because when it runs out, you're gonna be feeling like shit.
And we're
like,
not gonna be young and beautiful forever, you know. So I guess I do agree with what you're saying.
Real quick. True Hall of Fame Buzz keeps saying this dude is contradicting himself.
Who?
Boy, send a super chat and talk to him and see why.
Who you talking about?
Exactly who you're talking about, and then what is he saying?
You can't court and have
Talking about
casual sex. I never said I was courting and having casual sex, bro. You gotta listen. I never said I was courting and having casual sex.
Nah,
He said, yeah, exactly.
Now I don't want to get away from the conversation as well as super chats in this bitch.
Mm-hmm.
For you, same question. How do you actually maybe for like the 5% of women that may watch these videos, what are some things that made you choose your husband and or accept your husband, and what are some courting things a woman can do?
One thing I noticed is that in the beginning of my relationship with my husband now, I knew that in the beginning he wasn't ready to be serious. So I left him alone.
Yeah.
So I left him alone. I didn't bother him. I didn't tell him. I gave him an ultimatum. I'm like, hey, either you're going to deal with me and you're going to deal with this, and this, and you're going to stop doing all this other shit, or you're not going to deal with me at all. And I noticed that was a major change. And it wasn't automatic. It even took like over a year for him to be like, hey, you know what? You're right. I should do this. This is a better idea.
Okay.
So one thing I would, if I were to give anybody advice, it would be, ladies, stop being so desperate. Stop making it so easy for them. Set your standards up and let them be high. Like if you like something, if you want something, then stand for that shit.
Okay, I want to push back on what you just said, but I'm gonna do it in a different way. So maybe I might change the conversation. So do you have anything that directly correlates to what she just said? Because I might probably change the conversation.
I mean, a little bit of both. Yeah, like I guess a girl should have standards, but don't stand your shit. If you have standards and you meet a man who's worth being with, compromise what you want for what that man wants.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if the guy is acquiescing to what the woman's wants are so heavily, not your personal situation, but just like in general.
Say that again.
If you're a man and the woman is saying, I need you to be here, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, and you're a guy and you're acquiescing to that, it can definitely harm the dynamics of your relationship because you are basically adjusting to what she wants and not being the man that
I was also
she was
raised by a
attracted
man,
to.
though. I was also raised by a man, so it's a completely different mindset, and it's completely different.
But you're still the woman.
Exactly.
That's the point.
And you know what? A lot of girls come to me for fucking advice because they don't got it together. So
I hope you're giving them good advice.
I'm trying to give them the best advice that I possibly can. And what I do know, what has worked for me is I told you before we had this conversation. What did we say? You said, do we make them earn it, or are we submissive off rip?
Yeah.
And I am not. I was raised by a man, so I'm already a little bit more masculine than an average woman. So I'm not gonna be submissive off jump. And I'm like, I know you guys be talking shit saying you guys want feminine women, all that shit, but y'all like feisty women. Y'all like bold women. Y'all like that shit.
For sexual purposes.
No, not even for sexual
life.
purposes.
Most
We don't
men
want a
like
headache.
most men, especially men that have basically figure themselves out or have achieved something within their own life and have developed themselves
Talk
internally
your
and
shit.
become aligned.
Yep.
An aligned man does not want a feisty woman. An aligned man will have sex with the feisty woman, but he's gonna marry a girl who's sweet, submissive, and listens to what he wants.
Like
Facts.
a guy wants a girly girl on all
Facts.
fronts. Like
Facts.
I want her to be like super girly.
Wear your dress.
But just because I have a masculine energy and masculine attitude does not mean that I'm not girly. Does not mean that I'm any less of a woman.
Well,
How you
it
gonna
doesn't
be
mean
both
that
at the same time?
physically. It doesn't mean that physically you're not girly, but mentally, the aggression, the attitude, the bobbing and weaving in the conversation. I'm not saying that it's bad.
I understand, and what you're saying is very valid, but for each his own. Because I didn't get with a regular average man. I got with the athlete. I'm an athlete. I was fighting MMA. Like you're gonna get. This is what comes with the fucking package. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not an average woman.
Another thing is the fact that you guys are both super young. So you're 24 and your husband's 24, 25?
It's 26.
26. Okay, so you guys are still pretty young, right? So the average man, let's say hypothetically, isn't getting married till 30 to 40, right? By the time you get to 30 to 40, you feel very differently about the women that you spent your time with already versus the type of women you want to spend the rest of your life with. So you've been dealing with feisty women or masculine women, but you get to a point where you realize around the age of 30, I would say that, yo, I'm tired of arguing with girls. I don't want my girl to argue with me. I don't want her to be feisty. I want to come home to a nice cooked meal.
Why do you think that feisty women mean that you're going to argue with your girl?
Because combative.
Because it's combative.
It's combative.
Doesn't necessarily mean that. Just because a woman can be combative doesn't mean that she has to be combative with her man. Doesn't mean that.
I agree to a certain extent, but a lot of times that leaks into the relationship.
Yeah.
Like when I am having a discussion with my woman, it's never an argument. It's more of a she, air out her concerns and then I respond in a respectful manner. There's never a raise in the voice or a raise in the tonality or anything like that. We're not putting hands in each other's faces or coming out of our element or coming out of our body to communicate with each other. So and I'm an athlete too. I played D1 football.
Boo,
I'm gonna tell
tomato.
I'm gonna tell you what. Hey, we national championships, go dogs. I'm gonna tell you what. When you come home from practice and you've been running full speed into men all fucking day, the last thing you want to do is come home and run full speed into your woman.
I can agree with that, but what if you guys are both doing the same fucking shit?
It doesn't matter.
Both of y'all doing the same shit. You both come home. You guys don't. Both of y'all are not gonna want to argue. I promise you that. And just because a woman is combative at this age does not mean she's gonna always be that way. You know what I mean? As you get older, you calm down.
First of all, why would I take the chance at basically gambling with my life? But second of all, again, no disrespect to career women or whatever, but something that's said in like Paki culture is the reason you don't marry a woman who's like headstrong in her career or feisty or masculine in a sense is because that woman is gonna spend, it's what you just said, right? You're gonna be too tired to argue, right? You're gonna be too exhausted. So basically the concept is the fact that when a man is going out on the football field and you're tackling men all day, he's not just trying to come home to a woman who's not argumentative and not feisty. He's trying to come home to a woman who's going to take care of him. So naturally, the saying in Paki culture is like, you don't marry a woman who's a career woman because she's going to spend her whole day smiling at other people, but when she comes home, she's going to be too exhausted to smile at you.
Think about it like this.
That's why marriage is a fucking job.
This is the best analogy that I can get. A lion and a lioness. When the lion goes out and he maybe gets in a battle with another alpha animal in the kingdom, it could be whatever, an elephant, a rhinoceros, whatever the fuck he encounters in the jungle. When he comes home, he doesn't want to come home to, oh, well, why you let them cut you? Why you let them hit you right here? Why you let them do this? Why you let them do that? He wants to come home to the lioness licking his wounds.
Let me bandage you up.
That cuts deep because my man is an MMA fighter, and I've definitely gone to his practices before, and I was really upset if he didn't perform the way I think he should have performed. And I didn't, and it was an argument, and it wasn't me licking his wounds. So I know as a woman, I understand we all have our place. I understand that. And I know that there's a lot of things that we all have to fucking work on, which is awesome. That's why we're here. We're here to fucking learn.
Yeah.
But Damn.
Yeah.
This
Okay,
is
but
what
hold on.
my.
Nah.
I just got one more thing. This
Yeah,
is
go
what my
ahead.
football coaches used to always say, because the mothers would come to the practice and they would be upset that either their son ain't getting no playing time or he's getting
Yeah.
or he's in a position that he don't want to be in, and the coaches would always say, "Let the coaches be coaches, let the mothers be mothers," and the same thing applies to the wife. Let the wife be the wife, and let the coaches be coaches. Nobody is gonna coach him up like that man. The woman cannot
That is so
coach
crazy.
him
So,
up.
so I'll actually, I'm gonna help Alyssa out, and I'll actually speak for the females, right? Because I feel like this is a reasonable
Oh, you
slash.
said I feel like what the fuck?
Niggas can feel, bro.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm
Oh,
joking.
all right. So the reason why I feel like, again, personally, I wouldn't want a woman who works. I wouldn't want a career woman, period. But the reason why I can understand the perspective of a woman getting masculine and actually taking that path or whatever is simple, because the reality of it is when you look at Western culture, for the most part, men don't do right by their women. Meaning, like, I know plenty of women that don't have fathers, that either had a father and left, or had, boyfriends that abused them or used them or whatever. Point being is that, naturally speaking, I think every single girl that's born and raised starts off feminine. So she starts off in her feminine nature, and eventually she falls in love with one boy and she's obsessed with that boy, and then he breaks her heart, and then she starts basically going into a snowball effect and basically loses her shit. Point being is that, from a devil advocate standpoint, the reason why it makes sense for girls in the West to be working and doing their own shit and becoming masculine is because the dudes aren't very masculine and not willing to handle traditional responsibilities.
That's not even it, though. That's not even it, though. That's not even it, because I was raised in a very untraditional household by a man who raised me to be strong and courageous and all those things that men are known to be. So it's like, it's very contradicting, because I had no snowball effect. I had none of that shit. None of that shit. So
As far as what?
What do you mean as far as what?
Because a lot of fathers, especially if they're like single father, they raise their daughters to be able to depend on themselves and not have to depend on the man, just like single mothers do to their daughters as well. The only difference is sometimes that young girl gets to see the dynamic between her father and maybe the woman that he dates. Because it's easier for a man to bring a woman into his children's lives than it is for a woman to bring a man into her.
Okay,
child's
real quick.
Yes.
All right, we have a super chat in the building. Yusifer in the building. He says Alyssa chose her husband because he lets her go out every Saturday night. He got no spine. You got any questions?
My husband could probably break your spine.
All right, you had, and I want to change it just a tad bit. You had something that you said. You said that you made him have an ultimatum that he had to do this, had to do that. My question for you, as well as the panel here, if you have to change somebody to be what you want them to be, wouldn't you rather have someone that is naturally that person? Like, I know in what context?
I wouldn't want a person that's perfect. Who wants a person?
I didn't say perfect.
But
I'm just saying.
I would much rather go with somebody that is willing to make the sacrifice and change for me. I would respect that person much more if I knew that they're willing to put in the work.
And then I got to push back on that. Do you think that if he got the leverage, because I'm guessing at first he doesn't have that much leverage. Once he has leverage, meaning money, success, status, etc., he would probably revert back to his natural being.
I don't think
you
so.
don't? Okay.
I personally think that when a man starts to change for a woman, he's gonna turn into somebody he doesn't recognize.
I don't think that he chose to change for me. I think that he chose to change for himself, because that was what was better in life.
All right, so I agree with that, right? I think women have the potential. Certain women, not all women, but
motivate men to do better.
Certain women have the potential to show men what they could be, which I would attribute to myself. Like, I feel like I've had, whether it was my cousins or whatever, like certain women in my life showed me that I can be more than what I was. So I aspired to be that, right? Because naturally, I say this very carefully, but growing up in the West, you almost have a tendency to try and please women, right?
That's true.
So naturally speaking, yeah, I do think that women can show you the potential or help you aspire to be what you can become. But on the flip side, I think that when you're in a relationship with a woman and a woman is constantly calling shots and the man isn't masculine enough and the man starts changing for the woman, he's eventually going to come to a place where he no longer recognizes himself, and she's eventually going to come to a place where she's repulsed by him and she can't stand the sight of him.
I think that when you are thinking about relationships and thinking about being really serious with somebody, you're going to want to be with somebody who makes you feel good about yourself, makes you feel like
course.
you can achieve these great things.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like I step in my relationship. I don't feel like my man changed for me. I think I told him what the guidelines were, and I think he took his time and he realized, you know what, she's not wrong. Let me take her advice.
So,
you know.
So, you know, and I'm not trying to get personal, but to me, it sounds like you kind of changed his trajectory. You changed his direction. He was going one way, and then you kind of veered him on a path that you wanted to see from him, which is not bad, which is not wrong. You motivated him to, you know, achieve in other ways. But
the thing
what
about it
I
is
think,
I was not
what I think Buddy is saying is that if you have a man who is already at the point where he's been achieving and he's you know, conquered and he's you know, done some things,
I wouldn't want that. I still wouldn't want that. It would make me feel more insecure to be with a man who has all those things. Because now I feel like I'm not going to build with this person, and that makes me feel more insecure as a woman, because it'll make me feel like, oh, damn, like this person has everything perfect already, and I'm like, whoa.
I would think that it would give you more security because he has the ability to handle the things that may be stressing you out in your life, right? Especially when it comes from a financial perspective. When a guy is able to really provide, and what I mean by really provide is when you're in a bind, when you're in a tight path, he can say, oh, don't worry about it, baby,
But
I got
just
it.
because a man is willing to provide for you does not mean that he's going to give you all the other things that you need as a woman.
I actually think that her approach is a better approach as far as securing a man, right? Because the reality of it is if a man already has his ish together and he's already making money, he already has a nice body, he's already spiritually inclined, mentally, whatever, etc. It's kind of what you said. Very few men have reached that level of capability or success within themselves, are going to be willing to commit themselves to one woman. But I do think the chance that you have at getting a man to completely commit to you is finding a man who hasn't made it but has the potential to make it, and putting your bets on him so that you can tag along for the journey and have that security with him, and he'll probably stay loyal to you.
I agree, but I think the only difference is if you're getting a man who has potential, that potential is already seen by him. From what I'm getting from what you're saying, it sounds like to me that you presented the vision and he aligned with that. Whereas I would say that a man who has potential already has that vision, and he's aligned with it already, and then he's willing to bring you on to be the cog in the wheel to help that whatever
Push it
vision
along.
that he has get to where it needs
so
to
that
be.
could be the situation too. If we're using me as an example,
Like I said, not trying to get
it's fine.
Yeah.
If we're using me as an example, I could probably say that I knew that my man knew one day he wanted to get married and have a family, and he didn't know who he was going to do that with. When I presented the same vision, he was like, you know what? I'm not ready right now, but I will be. And that's what it was.
So I think.
Well, hold on, really quickly, because I really do want to get y'all guys' take on this as well. Would you rather have kind of the same situation, but on you guys? Would you rather have a woman that's already naturally how you want her to be, or someone that's just willing to, I guess, change to be how you want them to be?
Naturally how I want her to be, only because, again, it's like a responsibility, right? Like for me, I do think my personal opinion is I don't think women are very hard to change, because I feel like if a girl likes you, she's naturally going to start to do things that please you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I do think it's still a process, right? Like, so for example, if a girl is wearing booty shorts, which my shorty's not going out in booty shorts, period.
That's your
But so say shorty wears booty shorts and I'm like, oh, okay, like she wears booty shorts, I got to get her to stop wearing booty shorts. But you also can't tell women directly what to do, because then they start counting the things up that you're telling them what not to do. So what you got to do, what you got to do is give them signals, right? So if shorty comes outside in booty shorts, all I got to do is be like,
Doesn't make me feel good.
Nah, I'm gonna be like, yo, is that what you're gonna wear? She's gonna be like, what's wrong with him?
What if
and
she
I'm
calls
gonna
you insecure?
Huh? Then you're hitting the door. Bye.
You're insecure. You can't handle a bad bitch. Don't date one. That's what they're gonna say.
But that's to say it goes into both sides, because I think even if a girl's already naturally what you want, you're gonna mold and change her into what you want her to be, like in terms of your life. And I think it's doable either way, but I would prefer a girl who's naturally like that already.
This is what I would say. She has to have certain qualities that that definitely attract me in the first place. But none of these women come ready-made nowadays.
Yeah.
You
Just like
have
no
to,
men do.
No, there are men that come
There are
ready-made.
definitely men that come ready-made.
The thing is, the men who are ready-made already, a lot of the women don't know how to, one, attract or retain those men.
Facts.
So the men who are ready-made, they already ready to go. Just like I said in the beginning, he already got his bag, he already got his shit together.
Yeah.
Well, now you really got to compete, which women don't want to do.
Wow, that's so crazy that you think that.
Well, hold on, real
there's
quick.
men that
I want him
are
to finish the actual question. Well, real quick. I want him to finish the actual question.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, when it comes to, oh, do I want to mold the woman? Like, the woman has to be molded because they're not coming ready-made and they're not willing to do those things that quote-unquote traditional woman would have done. So you have to coach them up and say, hey, this is what I would like you to do.
Okay.
Or, hey, you know, this is what I see. This is what I see that I deserve from my woman. And she's going to do this. She's already done that with you before even getting with you. Okay. So, like I said, none of these women are coming ready-made. So you definitely have to.
Why are you saying that? Why are you
Because
saying
they're
that
not.
They're, what makes you think that there's no
I could put that into perspective a little bit.
Because you would rather have
shit.
sex than make a meal before the meal. So.
Yeah, I could put that into perspective a little bit, right? What basically he's saying is like the reason why dudes are, so I'll put it both ways, right? A dude who's already acquired and accomplished and become who he has become already is getting female attention, right? But those females are almost the equivalent of like a man who likes a woman and is constantly texting that girl thinking that, yo, if I keep hitting her up, I'll get attention from her, not knowing that it's actually driving her away. And it's the equivalent when a man is successful already and has his things together and is acquired. The way that women think that they're going to retain that guy is by having sex with him.
Yes.
But the fact that you have sex with that guy that quick, you're immediately like in a different category because he already knows that, yo, like she's a come and go. She's willing to give it up that quick, you know?
But why are you saying that there's men that are already made, but there's not women?
Because there are. They're evident. They're the ones who.
There's more husbands out there than wives.
Yes, absolutely.
Why are you saying that?
Because it's true.
Damn.
Because for one, if you ask a woman in your age grade, I would just say if you ask a woman between the ages of 18 and 24, majority of them will say, I'm not ready to be married. Why would I get married this young? I have my 20s to live out. They're not ready to be married. More men are ready to be married now than women, and they want more of the stability. The thing is, the men that the women go for may not be on that. So they're going for the guys who quote unquote already have made it or maybe fit their physical attraction levels. But those guys are not ready to settle down because they're living their best life because all the women are coming for them. But there are those guys who are husband material, who are the nice guys, who are the friends, who are friend zone, who are ready to be a husband. They racing to be a husband. They run on a 100-meter dash to be your husband. But you don't want that because one, it may be too easy, or maybe you're not really attracted to him like that, or maybe he's too nice, or
he doesn't do it for you sexually.
Right.
So you don't think that there's women out here that were raised to be wives?
No, not many. Not many.
So
maybe the Muslim girls. Maybe the Muslim girls.
So let's put it into perspective too, right? Because if you take the average Joe, right? Let's take the average 20.
Is that you?
Let's take the average. Let's take the average man, right? If a 24, 25-year-old man hypothetically like gets into a relationship with a girlfriend, even if he's broke, and I can say this because I know a bunch of dudes that are doing this, 24, 25, 26 in relationships, barely make any money, but still are spending the last dollar they have on taking the girl out to eat.
Facts. That's facts.
Buying the girl dresses, whatever. Point being is that when men are put into situations, for the most part, they'll naturally thrive up to the responsibility because they know there's no other choice. Versus a lot of young women that get into relationships and the man's like, she comes over and he's like, oh, can you clean her? And her answer is, well, why can't you clean? Or can you cook? Well, can you cook? Point being is that girls have come to a place where they want to basically relinquish the natural responsibilities that come with the relationship, whereas men don't have that option at all. Ooh. Men have no choice but to live up to the standard that's set for them, or basically become crumbs of society.
And let's keep it a buck. A lot of these women nowadays are going hopping straight off of getting a GED straight into sex work.
Yep.
You will never be a wife. You can never be a wife. So though that's ruling out
half the girls.
Yeah, damn near.
I don't care if you had your breast out or your feet out or your fingers out on OnlyFans. If you sold pictures of your body for money, I'm never putting a ring on you.
Right.
Okay, let's pause for a quick second. Let's catch up on the super chats. Cody Jones says aggression in women behavior, brain, and hormones. Women tend to engage in more indirect forms of aggression. I definitely agree.
Passive aggression.
Yep.
Have y'all ever been on a dating app?
Like as far as what?
Well, hold on. That's where else the conversation real quick. Amen sends super chat. He says this generation out here have a lot of failed experiences. People don't know what they're doing. Clearly, does this gen need to be better informed?
For sure.
Yes, for sure. That's why I have made this show. Cody Jones says another super chat. Thank you. I really appreciate that. He says men are here to test ideas and women are here to test men.
I kind of like that.
Damn.
Yeah, I
Why
like
that
that.
remind me of your ass?
I kind of like
Yeah, I
that.
kind of do like that. So I just want to get a consensus on this really, really quickly. And I'm gonna just start on this side. For you, 30 seconds. If you was to tell, I guess, a younger brother or your son how to actually vet a woman, what would you tell them?
I would first of all, I would tell my son not to vet women until he's fully been able to take the responsibility for himself, physically,
shit.
mentally,
Yep.
spiritually, and financially. How do you vet a woman? I personally always say this: I wouldn't marry a woman who doesn't want to cook. It's not that she has to know how to cook, but if she doesn't want to learn how to cook or isn't willing to learn, don't marry her. If she doesn't want to take on certain responsibilities, like being able to take care of your children when you have children, don't marry her. If she thinks that having a career is more important than making sure that your children get the education, morals, values that they need, don't marry her.
Right.
Okay.
And the problem with what you said is that women will say,
shit.
"Oh, you just want a mommy. You just want a mother. Like you just want somebody to da-da-da-da-da." And
Take
it's
care
like,
of you.
I do, because when we have kids, I want you to be a mother.
mom.
So
Yeah.
you have to have those motherly qualities
Before
we even have children.
Yes.
I cannot take you seriously unless you do, so that my kids will come out the best result possible. And a lot of women are not willing to admit that, hey, maybe if I deal with this guy long enough and we end up, procreating, we're gonna have kids.
Yep.
And if I'm not motherly material at that moment, then I'm not gonna be a bad mom.
Yep.
I would
Yeah.
never like a thing that, like you talk about vetting women. I'm not gonna deal with a woman in sex work, not because I don't find her attractive, but it's because I don't want my little girls to go and look up to that and say, well, mommy did it, so I can too.
Facts.
Yep.
That's
I
facts.
lead by example. So my children are going to follow my example, not the other way around.
Okay.
I can respect
And
that.
then you?
I could really respect what he just said, honestly. But I always thought I was gonna be a single mother. You know what I mean? And I wanted that. That's
You wanted to be a single mother?
That's
gonna open up a whole other
Wanting to be a
conversation.
single mother.
Honestly,
Hold on, what?
Honest to God,
She did say that. She said that before on my show.
I always told him that I wanted to be a single mother for my whole life. I always thought I was gonna be a single mother, and I was okay with that because I was able to have control of how my kids were gonna be raised. And I was gonna
but you
raise
don't.
them the way I
Yeah,
wanted to raise
You
them.
don't have control. Gas prices are going to be $6 a gallon in the near future. So you're going to put a severe financial burden on yourself. It takes $250,000, probably more now, to rear a child within their lifetime.
Well, I'm not gonna do that shit now.
No, I'm not saying you're gonna do it
You're saying
now.
it's a bad
But I
idea.
always
But what I'm
wanted to. I
but what I'm
always
saying
thought
is
that
most women have your mindset. That's why
Bad
I don't
idea.
think so. I don't think
No,
most
no,
women.
no,
A lot of girls do. A lot of girls do.
Women, no.
They do.
I
A
do
lot
not
of-
think
a lot of
that
girls
most
celebrate
women
being single
want to be
mothers.
single mothers. I don't think they want to be single mothers. I think that that's just how their fucking life played
Then
out.
why do they celebrate
I don't
it?
think
No.
they chose because it's hard work.
Yeah,
of course
but
they're
no,
going to
but-
celebrate
but
that
look,
shit
look,
if
look,
they
look,
did that
It
shit.
makes them have to resort to underworld means to financially provide for their children, and it stresses them out emotionally, physically. They're gonna have to do things. They're gonna have to basically sell their soul to provide for that child. And
yeah, 100%. Sex work is selling your
sex
soul.
work is
Sex work is selling your
Why
soul.
are
absolutely
y'all saying
selling
sex
your soul.
work?
Because
Why?
that's
A lot of
Sex
times
work is
it
selling
goes to
your
that.
soul.
that's what
And even-
most women
I
resort
never
to.
said I want to be a stripper.
No, we're not talking about you. We're not talking about you. We're talking about generally
Yeah.
single mothers. A lot of times are involved in sex work, not because they necessarily want to be, but because it's easy, fast money.
Yes.
And it's very hard to make that type of money in a regular career.
Yes.
So what they do is they go to sex work thinking, hey, it's fast money. I got a kid. I got to take care of my kid. But not knowing that not only are they sabotaging their kid's future, because naturally if mommy is involved in sex work, I'm going to have a hell of a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
But also the fact that they're
Issues
being
at
disqualified.
school.
and they're being disqualified from any man ever taking them seriously. What you'll notice is there's 3 men here, right? He's financially stable, I'm financially stable. He works out, I work out. We all are basically stable men that have secured ourselves, and we're all telling you the same thing as far as what we want from a woman.
Facts.
Any man who's telling you the reciprocal or the opposite has not been internally aligned yet and is willing to just tell women what they want to hear.
Yes.
Facts.
Yeah.
And also, really, really quickly, to touch on the sexual thing, a lot of times it's not even so direct. It might be just, oh, this dude likes me really, really much. Let me just say, hey, can I get $200 and then I have sex with you?
For money.
That's still sex work.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I mean,
OnlyFans
You
is
say what the fuck, but I'm telling you, this is
only-
but
Well, I never had an OnlyFans. I never been on a
but
date.
not in general, though.
You're a model, so you're around other models, and I
that's what I was
guarantee
about
your
to
peers
say.
are doing sex work.
Yes.
That's what I was about to
Guaranteed.
say. Like, 'cause you said,
Guaranteed.
any woman that is selling a photo of her body for money is a whore.
For sexual, no, I said for sexual
Okay.
activity. For sexual activity.
Because I'm like, what about those swimwear models? What about lingerie models?
Look, if
like,
you're in a respectable
'cause
profession
I was
and
about to say.
whatnot, but literally, most of these women who are single mothers are resulting to the sex work, whether
Yes.
it be online or whether it be in their everyday life,
Yep.
just to make ends meet.
I think a lot of what's lost is people have become very shallow and about physical energy, but not understanding that there is a spiritual realm or a metaphysical realm where energy is transferred, right? So hypothetically speaking, me and you, like, we didn't know each other and we were on the street and we started looking at each other in a combative way. I wouldn't say a word, he wouldn't say a word, but we'd feel it towards each other. Like, I'd feel the heat, he'd feel the heat, right? Point being is that you don't necessarily have to be physically in touch with somebody to reciprocate or transfer energy. And it's the same thing with OnlyFans models that are selling. I don't care if you're selling feet pics. I don't care if you're selling hand pics. I don't care if you're selling armpits.
I don't care if you sell
Men-
bathwater.
Yeah,
bitch.
men are getting off. Men are getting off to your sexual aura, which is an Arabic term. It basically means the preservation of your chastity, right? Your sexual energy.
Sexual nature, yep.
Men are getting off to that, which means that your sexual energy is now perverted
And being drained.
and being
All right.
drained.
Well,
oh my god.
It is.
starting from this side, give your final thoughts and your IG. Hey, hold on, real quick. Oh, we got Mr. What is it? Mr. Bog
Don't
reacts
even-
in the
don't
building. What?
even
Can you
say
relax?
that.
We got Mr. Bog reacts in the building. And we got Fatty in the building as well. He's in super chat. He says, "We are ready to be wives. I want to be a single mom."
No, let me address that shit real quick.
Real quick, go ahead. Well, that's your
I
final
have
thoughts.
always
All right.
said that I wanted to be a single mom. Obviously, my life did not fucking play out that way, and I'm not gonna be a fucking single mom. Like now,
Got you.
fucking
Yeah.
mindset changed. But I did want that for a long, long time because
But don't you think?
I wanted to have full control of my child's upbringing and education, not because I want to be fucking alone and shit. You know what I mean?
So you don't want help from a man?
Well, now
you didn't.
I found
You
a
didn't.
man that I would like to do that with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
So
that's what-
just-
that we share the
I just
same
think-
values. I didn't think I would ever
Yeah.
find somebody that I
Shared
could share the
values.
same values.
And that's
with.
the problem. The culture is teaching women that
Yup.
you're not gonna find it because men ain't shit. You're not gonna find
Facts.
a man who's
Facts.
gonna be this, and they're literally all
Over the place,
around.
yeah. Literally.
Yeah.
yeah, but
in your
how many
DMs,
niggas
too.
out
In
here
your
are
DMs.
not shit though.
Yeah, the ones
That's where y'all
the
looking,
ones
though.
that are
It's-
super hot, super
it's-
tall. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not gonna be faithful
Yeah.
because
Right,
they should.
yeah.
Why should they?
Everyone should
Yeah.
look for a Don J.
Oh my God.
It comes down to selection process. If you're saying you can't find a man in today's world, you're looking in the wrong places and you're looking for
Facts.
the wrong things.
Talk your shit.
But even the fact
I
that
was never looking though.
no, we're not talking
We're not
about you
about you.
specifically.
I'm
But
gonna
you,
take it personal
but what,
because I'm the only girl here.
but
Okay?
wouldn't you say even the fact that you're growing up with the mentality that I want to be a single mom itself is a problem?
I didn't think so though because I was raised by a single father.
No, yeah, that makes sense.
That's the whole
But
point.
single father households, the results are way better than single mother households.
Households.
That's because men can implement discipline
You are
in their
proof.
children.
But-
a woman can't implement discipline in her child,
That is
especially if
not
she.
true.
No,
That
she
is very
can't.
true.
No,
That's
not
very
no,
true.
check this out. Check this out.
Let him
Let me
finish. No, no, let him finish. Let him finish.
Because if you have once you have that 10-year-old boy and he get to about 5'8", motherfucking 160 pounds, you can't tell him shit.
Yeah.
He's
That's
coming in
bullshit.
that.
That's
No,
bullshit.
he's not
That's
listening.
He's not
bullshit.
listening.
He's
That's
not
bullshit.
listening.
I'm
He's
telling
coming
you.
in the
He's
house.
gonna listen.
When
Yo,
he
Us
won't.
three dudes are literally
No,
telling you
he's
how
not.
we.
But
But you guys were not. Your mothers were not raised by a single father in a fucking household where your father was an MMA fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have learned different things than most women have learned. So it's like,
I'ma tell you
my
what,
son's gonna fucking listen to me,
A
bro.
5th grade boy will kick your motherfucking ass.
Yeah, he will.
And-
Come on
and
now.
I'm not saying your son.
I educate kids from 4 years old all up to
I do
fucking
too.
13 years old. No, I train them.
I do too.
train them
All right,
to
let's
fucking-
let's
put it into
just-
perspective a little bit too, right? Other than the fact that your son, no. Let's put it into perspective, right? Other than the fact that physically, like, your son can probably handle you if he's grown enough. Other than that fact, the natural reality of it is most mothers make ultimate excuses for their children.
Yes.
I got caught with weed before. I got caught when I was a little kid. I brought home bud. I told my mom, it's my friends next door. You know what she did? She believed me.
No,
I don't know how.
no.
I don't know how she believed me. I don't know how she believed me, but she did. And I'm not the only one. I got a bunch of boys that we would constantly just pass blame to each other with the things we would get caught with, and all of our mothers would believe us because the natural instinct of a mother is, my sweetheart can't do anything wrong.
nothing.
He ain't do nothing.
I
Yeah.
would not be that way though.
You may
I
not
never-
be that way,
and
but you
never
can't
got-
discipline that child.
Facts.
What the
Yup.
fuck are
You can discipline
saying?
them probably up to like 6, 7, 8 years old.
No,
but
I don't agree with that.
I'm gonna tell you what. A little boy is gonna do whatever the fuck he want to do, especially
can't
if
control
he's
a little
raised in
boy.
a single mother household.
Yeah.
He's gonna do whatever he wants.
He
like
needs
you
a
said,
father.
You
No,
may
he
train.
needs-
You
yeah.
train kids. I train kids who are in elementary school. I work in the Gainesville schools for the Boys and Girls Club. Them little niggas are not
They not
listening.
listening.
They not
Nah.
listening. They mama
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
No way.
They mama say this.
That's
They
because
doing the
their
opposite.
mother is not a good at parenting.
No, it can't
Just
be
because
all
you're
the
a
mothers
good
that are good
mother-
at parenting.
Just
All right,
because
it's-
you're a
all right,
good
all right,
mother
all right,
does
all right,
not
all
mean
right,
that
all
you're a
right.
good parent.
No,
Just
it's
because you're a good mother.
No. Check this out. Check this out. Check this out. The woman is at work. She
go.
gotta work. She gotta do this. She gotta make the bills. She gotta make the food. She gotta do all
I
these
think I already know where
things
you're gonna go with this.
by
Yeah.
her damn self. By virtue of the amount of time that she has in
can't.
the day, she has 24 hours. 8 hours she gotta work. It takes 2 hours for her to make the meal. She gotta sleep 8 hours too. So we had 18 hours. She got 6 hours to discipline and train that child. And
boy
most of that
sleeping.
time she gonna be tired, wanting to watch
Yup.
TV. And y'all get the hell out of my face. Mommy tired. I just got done for work. I've seen this shit before. You are not gonna have the time nor the discipline to discipline those children, and those children are gonna end up doing whatever they want.
yup.
That's why the girls who are raised in single mother households, they usually end up what? Single mothers.
Yep.
Go ahead, you was about
Let's
to-
take it even a step further. Forget about the fact that a single mother can't handle her child. A natural boy. If you're a boy, you are not listening to your mommy. You need a masculine figure in your life. As a natural little boy, when mommy tells you things up to a certain age, you're gonna be like, okay, I'll listen. And then you're gonna get to a point where you're like, yo, I don't gotta do shit my mommy says. That's when you need daddy fear in you.
Yeah.
You need to have a
Yes.
father
Yeah.
that can enforce a certain type of fear in you that, naturally speaking, a mother doesn't have because it's not instinctual. The fear or respect that a boy has towards his father is basically on an instinctual level. It's not something the father has to work for or be a certain way. It's natural. When the father has a son, the son is going to look up to his father, have a certain amount of respect, have a certain amount of fear, and have a certain amount of discipline in knowing how to act when his father's around.
And he know when
Bars.
daddy get home, he
Clip
gonna
that.
tat
Yup.
that ass. When mommy get home, she might try and whip him, but mommy whippings don't hurt no more.
Yeah.
Shit.
Thanks. Anything you want to
Shit,
say?
I'll choke my fucking kid out. Straight up.
Oh my
I'm
god.
not playing that shit. Like,
We got a super chat really quickly. He says, Cody Jones, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. He says, single mothers often use threats, intimidation, and verbal abuse to control their
no,
sons.
I will be
bec-
very physical. Like, what the fuck?
Because, well, I don't want to ask that because then we're going to get to a whole nother conversation. I'm about to ask, do y'all believe in like physical?
I do.
Yeah.
where-
I
do
never
too.
got hit because I was raised by a single father.
I do, but I don't think the woman should administer
Word.
physical consequences.
Wow,
I don't.
Facts.
that's crazy.
I agree.
Well, check this out.
Well, hold on, let me-
I grew
let
up
me
in a
hold on, real
two-parent
quick.
household. My mother never spanked me.
Same.
And real quick, let me finish the super chat. He says, because they become frustrated when they act in masculine ways they don't understand. Often this emotional abuse. All right, what are your thoughts?
So I never got spanked or nothing because my dad was my dad, right? And I was a girl. But when it came to discipline, I was disciplined in the only way possible. Like, I got my first C in math fucking middle school. I had to run up a fucking over 100 stairs with a backpack full of books.
Mm-hmm.
Running up that bitch saying,
I
what does
respect
C
that.
stand for? C stands for crap. So being raised
He was very-
I like
no,
that. Yeah,
very
he's
strict.
creative.
So
Yeah,
I like
I'm
that.
gonna be strict too. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
but I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you,
I-
most women are not gonna do that.
But we're also
Exactly. I'm not most women. That's why I'm saying.
We're also not-
I wanted to have I wanted to be a single parent for so long.
we're also not doubting your parenting skills. What we're telling
Yeah,
you
I
as
feel like you
as being a boy or being raised as a boy, naturally you need to have a man, specifically a man, because like I said, it's instinctual. It's not like we're like, oh, mommy doesn't matter. Nah, it's just that kind of what he said. I was raised in a 2-parent household. Mommy never spanked me. My father used to beat my ass anytime I did something stupid, right? But naturally what that did was it created a comfort with mommy where I knew mom was going to cook for me. Mom was going to clean. She was going to love me no matter what. And I had to live up to my father's love, meaning I knew that, yo, if I came home with all Fs, damn, I'm getting an ass whooping tonight. Dad's going to be super disappointed. Now I got to spend the next semester busting my ass trying to make this shit right, you know?
And the fact is, daddy don't got to whoop that ass too long. You're going, after a while, once you get older as a teenage boy, you're going to be like, I don't want to disappoint my father.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
You're gonna get to that point. You're not even gonna need whippings no more because the whippings set the foundation when you were getting older. By the time you in high school, you like, man, I don't want to. I want to make my
It's
dad
instinctual.
proud.
It's instinctual because naturally when your father, let's say, like slaps the shit out of you or beats you up, right? Naturally when you get slapped as a boy or punched in the face as a boy, you're not thinking, oh, my dad just punched me in the face. You actually feel a lack of validation because the man in your life, because as a boy, the only thing any boy wants is to become a man. We naturally, ever since the day we're born, we're looking at our fathers and like, oh, we want to do that. We want responsibility.
Please your dad.
Yeah, so when your dad slaps you or your dad punches you or your dad beats you or whips you or whatever, it's not that you're going to be thinking, oh, I'm in so much pain and this hurts. Nah, you're going to be like a sense of lack of validation, like, damn, I'm not enough. And then you're going to naturally thrive, what he said, to not disappoint your father so that your father can basically validate your manhood. Validate the fact that, hey, you've transferred from being a boy into a man.
Bars. All right, now final thoughts and then your IG.
I understand that.
This whole
men-
conversation was fire, Knuckle Cup.
I understand that men need their fathers, and now that I'm
Little
older,
girls do too.
Yeah.
Yes.
they do
right?
too.
I definitely agree.
Keep them off stripper
We
poles.
all need our daddies. I get it. So now that I'm older and I'm married, I obviously don't want to raise a fucking child by myself.
Got you.
But I'm gonna do a bomb ass job. But yeah.
Final thoughts and then IG.
MMA is fighting. Anyways, y'all can follow me on Alyssa_Zenitram. Next.
All right, so I had a great time as always. Shout out to Don Jaye. I really appreciate you having me on the podcast.
100%, boy.
Very good discussion. We got
Fire
into
discussion.
a lot of different topics
did.
that are pivotal to molding the minds of not only young people but people our age alike. But if you guys like what I was saying, you can check me out on Reclaim Your Throne, Black Gen Z Mindset, or Quarantino to God on all platforms, on all social media platforms, and you already know what it is.
All right.
Yeah, I had a good time. I think it was a good discussion. I appreciate you having me, bro. Like I said, guys, I got a podcast starting up. Same concept where we bring on, young adults, females, males alike, and we basically discuss intersexual dynamics. We discuss spirituality. We discuss religion. We discuss culture, any and everything possible, as long as it's a productive conversation. So if you guys want to check me out, it's Power Talk Space Podcast on YouTube or Instagram or any other platform.
All right. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. If you want to follow anybody that was on the panel today, their link will be in the description below. The cards are here. I'm going to have a release probably next week. It's probably going to be a crazy ass party, but we'll see. Other than that, peace out.